welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back at you guys with another college basketball video. Now this one is going to be a little different. Reason being is because last Monday Sportsbooks became live in North Carolina, and that's where I'm currently located, and we have FanDuel and DraftKings. Now for me, this is my bread and butter. I've been doing sportsbooks betting for over 3 to 4 years. So this is what all I know. Now I did try to make videos for the PrizePicks side and the player prop side, but it's so volatile in the player prop market because of foul trouble and just a bunch of different things have to go your way in the prop market. But I will make part of this video dedicated to those PrizePicks users, the guys that still use PrizePicks and the people that use PrizePicks as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down the first game on the board, the first March Madness game to tip off the whole tournament, which is Wagner versus Howard. So let's get into it. So in this matchup, we have a 3.5 point spread between Howard and Wagner. Now let me give you guys a little backstory on both of these teams. So basically with Wagner, they are a super short team as far as players because they had a bunch of injuries earlier in the season, so they were forced to play with only 7 players for the last 3.5 months or 3 months, I want to say. So they have a super short rotation. And the one bad thing about it is if they get in foul trouble, they don't have anybody to go to outside of, their 7-man rotation. So what they like to do is they like to play slow pace, and they like to, as you can see, I'll show you guys right here. So they play slow pace. They're 361st in the country and pace. So they like to bring the ball up the court, which is pretty smart because if you only have 7 players, you want to kind of minimize the game, minimize the possessions of the game. You don't want a big up and down pace type of game. Now with Howard, they are a super I call them a pace taker. So like depending on the style of play that the other team plays, they will play to that style. They're not the team that will dictate the style. So like if let's say like the Alabamas of the world, if you watch them play, they're big, fast paced, they're up and down the court. No matter what, no matter how the style of the other team plays, they basically kind of dictate how the other team will have to play them, because in order to shut them down, you have to stop them from fast breaks and things of that nature. But Wagner is the exact opposite. Now for them, they are a really good defensive team. So, and as you can see here, the only real advantage that Howard really has is free throw shooting, as they have they're 60th in the country in free throw attempt rate. And what that means is that every time down the floor, they're more aggressive in trying to look to draw fouls to be able to get to the free throw line. As you can see, Wagner is 304th. Now Wagner, they are a terrible offensive team. I'll show you guys the numbers in just a second, but they rank daggone near dead last in college basketball in all of the major stats as far as like efficiency, 3-point shooting, mid-range, near proximity. So they don't shoot well at any of the 3 levels on the floor. So they like to slow the pace down. Like I told you guys, they have a short rotation. They play 7 players, and I'll show you guys their box score rotation. So I think this is a championship game. Yes, a championship game against Merrimack. And as you can see here, look, Council played 40 minutes, Brown played 37 minutes, Esquera played 40 minutes, and Allen played 40 minutes. And look at how many minutes their bench is getting. They have 2 people coming off the bench. They have a 14 minutes combined total on those 7 players. Those 2 players coming off the bench. So their starters will play a large portion of the game. And then another thing too, they are a really poor rebounding team as well. They're not as great rebounding. But me personally, what I like to do is I like to attack the first half team totals. So as you can see in this matchup, Howard is really bad at defending in the first half. They allow 34 points. 34.6 points to their opponent, and as you can see, Wagner, they only average 28 points per first half. And then opposite of them, Howard offensively, they score 35 points a game in the first half, and that's 127th in the country, which is really good. But I've never seen this before, but Wagner is a top 5 team in the first half allowing points. They only allow 29 points allowed, but I think that this number is pretty much skewed because they play slow pace, so they limit the possession, so the other team has to be super efficient in order to score against them. Now with Howard, they are really efficient, and I think that this will kind of balance out. But it also, I feel like they're a team that they never played before Wagner, and that and what I'm referring to in that, they're a really efficient team. As you can see, their effective field goal percentage is 52%. Then also they are a really good free throw shooting team at shooting 75% from the line. And then they're 19th in the country in three-point. And I think this is the key to the game. If they are shooting really, really well, three-point shooting, because Wagner will come out in a zone to kind of slow them down, and then they will pick up full court to also slow the team down, slow Howard down to be able to get into their offensive sets late. So if they are able to pass the ball around the perimeter and knock down shots, which I think that this could be a big game for Dockery for Howard, because he is one of their best three-point shooters, and I'll kind of show you guys that in a second. So they're really efficient. And then so anything that's like for defense, anything that's above 40% opponent effective field goal percentage is really, really mid-tier to bad. And as you can see here, Howard is allowing 50% of their shots. So out of every 2 shots, the opponent is making 1 shot, which is pretty average. But as you can see, Wagner, they're really, really good defensively. They're only allowed 48%, so that's below the 50% mark, which is about average. So, and then also they are a really, really big fouling team. Howard, as you can see here, the 313th in allowing their opponents to get to the free throw line, as their opponents average 22 free throws a game. And then exact opposite for Howard here, as their opponent Wagner, they only give up 16 free throw attempts a game, which is 45th in the country. So that leads to why they don't give up a lot of points in the first half as well as the second half, because they're top 10 in first half and second half points allowed, Wagner. And like I said, most of that could be indicative of their pace of play, being as though they want to slow things down, so that also limits opponents. But if I will always take in a slow pace matchup, I always will take the more efficient shooting team, and that is Howard in this case, and then also the better free throw shooting team as well, which is Howard in this case. So I kind of want to back them in more of a first half total type of role, just coming out, starting the game out. Now I do think that this game will go under the total, but also keep in mind too, though, with this being a low number as far as the total at 128.5, that this can come down to free throws. As I previously mentioned to you guys, both teams have the free throw advantage in this matchup, so both teams will foul considerably, but Howard will foul a whole heck of a lot more than Wagner. And then this is a tournament game, so if the game is close, because it has a 3.5 point spread, so that means that it will come down to like the last couple possessions. So like if it's below a 10-point game, there will be late game fouling to kind of preserve and extend the game out. So that could play a hand in if you were to take the under. I think that could play a role. I liked it more last night when it was at 130, the under, but now it's at 128, so that's kind of more manageable. And as you can see, they have the first half total, both teams combined, for 58.5 points. And I kind of want to go towards the Howard side of things, but as you can see, their number is 30.5. Now, one thing that I have been doing so far in the conference tournaments that I can kind of share with you guys is that, so for instance, Howard, right? Their team total right now, pregame is 30.5. If they come out and they miss like their first 3 or 4 shots, then you could take their team total at a reduced number. So you can be looking to get in on that as well. And then also keep in mind that if you see like one team is in foul trouble early, or like just got a bunch of fouls. So in college, 7 fouls is the bonus. And then 6 fouls is like you're on the brink of the bonus. So if a team, let's say Wagner comes out and Howard fouls them 4 times within the first 10 minutes of the first half, I will be looking more to go towards Wagner's first half team total over, because they will have the benefit of, in the last 10-minute segment of the first half, they will have the benefit of being able to go to the line on every foul, whether it's a shooting foul or just a personal off-ball foul. They would be looking to go to the line. So that's how I like to play it. Now, granted, sometimes what I like to do, I like to hedge, and what I would do is I will take this pregame over at 30.5, and then as the game goes along, and say they missed their first 3 to 4 shots or first 5 shots, but you just know that they're all good looks, they're all good shots, you can take the reduced number at maybe 25.5, where it will probably be, or 26.5, where it would be, and that way you hedge and you get like the best of both worlds. You get both. If they manage to get over 30 points or 31 points, you end up double hitting on both of those totals. So that's how I like to play it. So I will be looking towards Howard, but I know throughout the day, These numbers will kind of fluctuate based on how the total is being played. Because pretty much they basically divide everything in half. So if the total is 128, they divide everything in half. And like I said, the total for the first half is 58 and a half. But one thing to keep in mind too, as well, for you new guys too, is that they do have second half totals. So like if you think that one team is doing really shooting like just abnormally well, like Wagner, if they come out shooting and they get like 20, they get hot and they get 20 points in the first half, like early, I know that negative regression is coming their way. So I would look to take more of an under in their second half, because they're not going to keep shooting that way the full entire game. Now, granted, if they do, hey, more power to them. They deserve to move on to the next round. But in essence, a lot of these teams revert back to their mean or revert back to their averages, and which is the numbers that I've showed you guys, the effective field goal percentages, the 3-point shooting percentage, all those things. So that's just the way how I play these college basketball games. And then you can also, if you love parlays and you use the PrizePicks side of things, you can also make yourself a parlay as well with the points, threes, and rebounds and assists. So what I like to do is I like to dumb them down. And I like to basically split in half the number that they have available on PrizePicks, or even sometimes you can look at their numbers right here and they show you pretty much the same line that they will have on a PrizePicks or any type of prop platform. And you will see that like Bryce Harris, he's scheduled to go over 15 and a half points, but very slightly. You could take that just as a single bet instead of putting it all in a parlay on PrizePicks, or you can hedge as well with being able to take his over points as just a single prop bet, and then you could also pair him up in the PrizePicks for with another team or just another prop to be able to double hit on that as well. And so you're pretty much just looking for opportunities to be able to just pretty much double your money in that essence. And as you can see, like Bryce Harris, they have him just to get 10 points. And they have all their players that on both teams to have 10 points, 15 points, 20, and so on and so forth. Same thing with rebounds and assists. Now with rebounds, they have it as low as 4 rebounds, 6, 8. So they're all in multiples of like an extra 2 rebounds or extra 2 assists. Same thing with assists. Same thing. They start at 2, 4, 6. So you can do those as well. And then they also have alternate lines. I like doing the alternate line in the first half. So I will be on the first half alternate line. That I always use the alternate spread or ultimate total point, the third one, which is pretty much almost minus 200. And what that means is that you will get a small return on your money if you put a little bit of money down, but it is a really good return as far as you're still profiting off of it. But yeah, so that's that on the sportsbook side. Look for the hedge part of the totals. So if you were to take a pregame total, and like I said, if they start off slow, you can get a reduced number, or I like to say more of a discount at a lower number. So, but I really like Howard, their props, because I really think that they will they're just a better team, and that over time Wagner, you can only hold up but so much with a 7-man rotation. So you're going to see a lot of tired legs later on in the game, so you can look for that as well, and the team total unders for Wagner later on in the game. But moving on to the PrizePicks side of things, so like I said, they both have a free throw advantage as well as mid-range for Howard. So we're going to look for Howard, their best mid-range shooter. Their best mid-range shooter is, let's see here, Bryce Harris. So Doherty is pretty much their best all-around shooter, but he doesn't really score around the rim. As you can see, he takes 18% of his shots around the rim, but he finishes 51% of the time, which is really well. And he shoots 82% from the free throw line, so that's really well as that's really good as well. I believe he takes the most shots on the team, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look at field goal attempts for, let's see. Okay, so field goal attempts, actually Council takes the most for Wagner, and Towns takes the most for Howard, as well as Bryce just takes a shot less than Towns. So Towns get 11, Bryce gets 10. So they're going to have to be super efficient. And what I like to do is I always like to take the highest or the most efficient scorer on the team. So Doherty is second highest, but he's the best all-around shooter as he shoots 41% from the three-point line. But he also is pretty much just a standard spot-up guy as he shoots 62% of his shot volume. Out of 100% of his shots, he shoots 62% of his shots from three. So he's pretty much a standing shooter, but this is key in this matchup. Like I told you guys, that Wagner will play a lot of zone. So they will have to be able to force the ball and move the ball around the perimeter to be able to set up open looks from three. So he's their best shooter. Bryce is more of a free throw merchant. He loves living at the foul line or at the free throw line. So, and he shoots 73% from the line, which is respectable, but it's not great. I would more likely, take Towns or Doherty because they are the better free throw shooters on the team. But from a perspective of being around the rim and getting easy buckets around the rim, Bryce Harris, he takes 70% of his shots at the rim, and he also shoots 62% from around the rim. Doesn't really shoot the three, but shoots a respectable number of 39%, so borderline 40% shooter from three, but only takes 19% of his shots, so super small sample size there. Doesn't really shoot mid-range as well. It takes 10% of his shots mid-range, shoots 35%. Not bad at all, but I just, overall, I think that Doherty is the best shooter on the team, so I would like to live with him, even though his shot volume is not there. As you can see here, where is he? So Doherty takes 10 shots a game, so not bad. So either or, I would take Doherty's points or Harris's points just based on the foul. He loves living at the foul line. Now let's look at one more aspect too. Let's look at personal fouls or free throw attempts per game for these guys. So free throw attempts per game, and like I said, Bryce is a foul merchant, so he lives at the free throw line. He averages 5 free throws a game. And Doherty, like I said, he's a spot-up shooter. Let's see, where is he? Yes, he's a spot-up shooter. He only attempts 2 free throws a game, so he's not superly aggressive getting to the rim. So I will more than likely side towards Bryce Harris's points more than Doherty. But I think that if they are to get off to a big lead or get off to a really good start, I think it's going to come from knocking down open threes. And I think that if they find him in rotation, Doherty will knock down, threes for them. So you can look for his props as well. But one thing I like as well is you can pair Bryce's points and rebounds. I don't know if they have that up there. So points and rebounds, you can go over 23.5 points and rebounds, just strictly off the fact of what I told you guys, that Wagner is a really poor shooting team all around. So he will have the benefit and the opportunity for rebounds as well. Towns, you could do his points and rebounds as well. He's another candidate that will get a bunch of boards. Those two are the leading rebounders on the teams, Towns and Harris. Now, as far as Wagner, they are under City. I think that a lot of their players will go under. One player to note too is this guy, Keontae Lewis. He is a pretty much back to the basket post player. He is their most efficient scorer, but the only worry that I have with him is that he doesn't play a lot of minutes to be able to do anything as much, because he averaged 21 minutes a game. Let's see if I can show you guys. So minutes, average about 21 minutes a game, but recently in the tournament he averaged 29. So that could be, sort of, a trend that he's going to get more minutes because of, the short rotation. As you can see here, he averages 21 minutes per game, but this is over the course of the whole season and not necessarily the last 3 months. I can't find a way to narrow the research down to the last 3 months sample size of how many minutes he's been getting. Now, one thing I can do is I can go to his last 5 games and it'll tell me how many minutes he's been getting. So for him, slight increase last 5 games, 25. So from 21 to 25, which he's getting extra 4 minutes of play. But then also in his last couple games, as you can see, his minutes is all over the place. And these are the type of players that you don't want to back, especially in a tournament setting, of somebody that doesn't have pretty much secure minutes. As you can see here, 26 minutes, 23, 34, and 29. Now, another reason for a lot of this, too, could be foul trouble. As you can see here, When he had 26 minutes, he had 4 fouls. He fouled out when he had 34 minutes. So the more minutes he had, the more fouls he had. And then he had 23 minutes here against Sacred Heart, and then he had 3 fouls on him. So he had 1 foul on him, and he had 8 points. So his minutes and his points is all over the place. So he could be a huge under candidate, but he has an advantage in the post against this Wagner team because they're susceptible in the post. Oh, excuse me, the Howard team. This is with a Wagner player, so the Howard team is susceptible in the post as well, interior scoring. But I don't think he will be able to take advantage of that. So I really like his under for points. Let's see, under for points for Lewis, and then over points and rebounds for Harris. So those are 2 props that I like. If you're into just you want to take all overs, you don't like sweating out an under, you can go with Melvin Council points over. Now with him, I did a scatter plot for him. I was looking into him last night. So like I said, they will have the free throw advantage in this matchup. So what I did was I took free throw attempts on one axis and then personal fouls per game on another axis, and kind of compared it and trying to see like where this matchup ranks as far as all the teams that he's got a boatload of free throws against. And this is his second to third best matchup as far as being able to get to the line and being able to draw fouls and free throws. So in this matchup, they give up 23 free throws a game, free throw attempts per game in the 40 minutes that they play Howard. And then they also, personal foul wise, they give up 18 personal fouls a game. So that's right on par with NJIT. And I will go to Mr. Melvin Council here. Now he is a super inefficient scorer, and I'll show you guys why I say that once this pulls up. So as you can see here, Melvin Council, he shoots an effective field goal percentage, which is damn near terrible, 41%. That's almost borderline 30 in the 30%. I mean 39%. Doesn't really shoot well around the rim. Shoots 45% of his shots, 53% around the rim. Doesn't really have a great free throw percentage at 77%. Doesn't shoot the 3-ball well either. So he's more of a volume guy more than an actual efficient scorer. So he's going to have to take a lot of shots in order to be able to get to his points, unless he just lives at the free throw line and he attempts maybe 5 to 7 free throw attempts in this matchup. So we're just capable because, like I said, Howard, they foul a lot. But that's the only reason I would take his over. Otherwise, under for him. But like I said, Keontae Lewis, and he's also another thing why I like his under is he's a terrible free throw shooter, 61% from the free throw line. So if he does get fouled, he will more than likely convert just 1 out of those 2 opportunities. So those are the plays that I really like. And like I said, if you want to risk it and you want to take a Wagner over, go for it. Council, or even for me personally, I would take Teron Lewis because he is a mid-range killer. He's one of those guys that will just shoot the lights out from the near the free throw line, like just below the free throw line. He loves that shot, mid post, mid-range shot, which is super efficient for him. So those are the props that I like on the board for this matchup. And like I said, these props are super volatile based on foul trouble and things of that nature. So I just kind of want to throw something out there and give you guys something for the game if you are on the PrizePicks platform. So I'll go over them again. Bryce Harris over 23.5 points and rebounds, as well as Keontae Lewis under 8.5 points. Or you can swamp that out with Teron Allen over 13.5 points and hope that he gets fouled a couple times and makes 4 or 5 shots to be able to go over this line. So those are the plays that I really like for you guys. And then also for the sportsbook side of things, I like the Howard's overs. As far as first half overs, you could take the pregame as well as you can take the reduced line if they, like I mentioned earlier, if they missed their first couple shots. You could take it at a reduced price and a lower price. So those are the props that I really like for you guys for the first matchup. Now this is going to be an ugly game. So if you can stomach sitting through it and watching it, and it's for all the marbles, it's for getting into the tournament. So it will be a hard fought game, but I just think Howard pulls this out. I think they are the more talented team. They are the better and more efficient team in this matchup. So I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And best of luck to you guys. And I'll see you guys next time.